Hi, everybody. So excited to have author Jake Marrazzo here today with us to talk a little bit about inclusion and differences with our kids. Oh, I love seeing all of these beautiful faces. So a little bit about me. My name is Miss Lindy, and I am part of a group called Family, Friends, and Duchenne. And we talk about how important it is to make friends and support our friends who might look or act a little bit different from us sometimes. So we also specifically focus on kids with Duchenne Muscular Dystrophy. So my son has Duchenne, and I just want to spend some time today with Jake teaching you guys about some differences that sometimes kids have. Now, Jake Marrazzo here is a recent graduate from high school, and he, excuse me, he authored a book, and it was recently published. We're so excited to be reading it today. He'll actually be reading it for us. And guys, I would like for y'all to unmute yourselves real quick, and I want y'all to guess how old Jake was when he came up with the idea for this book. And y'all can just kind of toss out ideas. We can unmute anybody who wants to toss out ideas.
10.
10, okay. Who else? Who else wants to guess?
13.
Oh my goodness, nice. Anybody else?
7.
7, okay.
8.
8, oh my gosh, we're hitting all the numbers here. Anybody else?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
There we go. He was actually, believe it or not, 4 years old when he came up with this idea. Now, I'm just going to introduce Jake real quick and then let him get to the really good stuff. So Jake was always a kid who was super interested in making stories and coming up with ideas about, imaginative things. And one day he came downstairs and he was talking to his daddy, and he said, you know what? I have an idea for a book, and it's going to be called One Wants to Be a Letter. And his daddy said, you know what? I'm going to pay attention to this because this doesn't sound like any other movie or a story we've ever read before. And so they continued to talk about it over the years, and they developed the story. And so, guys, it's taken, gosh, what, Jake? 12, 13, 14 years? Yeah, in the making.
Around there, I'd say.
Yeah, and they kept thinking and they kept working, and voila, we have a book that we're going to share with you guys today. So I'm going to let Jake take over now, and here we go.
All right, well, hi, everyone. As was just mentioned, my name's Jake Marrazzo, and I just graduated high school, and I'm actually going to be going to college next year, which is really exciting. Now, before I get into the book that I'm about to read to you that I wrote, I just want to show you one quick thing about me. If you weren't able to notice, I'm actually sitting in a wheelchair right now. And the reasoning for this is because I have Duchenne Muscular Dystrophy, as was mentioned. And basically, my legs don't work as well as a lot of other different kids. So that means that I'm unable to walk right now, and I have to be in a wheelchair. And because I'm in a wheelchair, I feel a lot different than a lot of other kids. And I definitely felt that when I was much younger. And it made me stand out a lot more. And I definitely felt different. And One, in my book, One Wants to Be a Letter, also felt very different than a lot of his other friends. So I'm going to read this book to you, One Wants to Be a Letter, so you can find out about One. A letter. One is a number. But sometimes he feels like a lonely number. One has a lot of friends, and mostly one's friends are letters. This makes one a little sad because one wants to be like his friends. One wants to be a letter. Letters can do really fun things like get together and spell words. Numbers can't do that. They can only get together and make bigger numbers. And one does not think that that's so great. Oh. So one day, one decided he was going to be the letter T. He put his arms out to his sides and walked around all day telling everyone, "Hey, I'm not a number, I am the letter T." But after a while, one's arms got tired, and he was just a number again. The next day, one decided to walk around with a ball on his head. "Hey everyone," one yelled, "I'm not a number anymore, I am the letter I." But one could not keep the ball balanced on his head. The ball kept falling off, and one just kept becoming a number again. One's letter friends kept laughing at him. They said, "One, you cannot be a letter, you are just a number." This made one very sad. One day, the town was having the annual carnival. Part of the carnival was a race where the fastest contestant won a big trophy. One decided to sign up for the race. On the day of the race, one and all his letter friends lined up at the starting line. "On your mark," yelled the starter. "Get set." All the racers prepared to run. "Go!" Everyone started to run. It was crowded, and all the racers kept bumping into each other. The letters were not built as sleekly as one. When they tried to run fast, most of them fell over. But one was built straight and narrow. He ran faster and faster and pulled out in front of everyone. One easily won the race. And as you can see, it says "Yay one" in the background. Letter friends seem to be very happy for him. At the award ceremony, one was given the biggest trophy he had ever seen. It was gold and blue. At the bottom, it said "First place." And when he looked at the top, it had a giant number 1. And they're all spelling "We love one" in the background. All of one's friends were happy for him, but they were also a little jealous. They all wanted to be number 1. One really liked his letter friends, but now one loved being a number. The end. So that was my book, One Wants to Be a Letter. And as we can see, one really did feel different than all of the other letters because he's a number. But in the end, he realized that it's okay to be different. And the world would all be pretty boring if we were all the exact same. So being different is actually a really good thing. And if anything, we should be happy that we're different and embrace our uniqueness in life. And that's what one goes through. And I've realized that over the years, being in a wheelchair, I felt very different than others. But in the end, I realized that it's okay to be different from others. And because you're different from others, maybe you can educate others who are not the same to understand exactly how you feel. And I, at one point, actually could walk before I was in a wheelchair, but I walked a lot slower than a lot of the other kids because I had Duchenne. And a lot of the kids were pretty impatient with me. So if any of you guys ever see someone who has very similar challenges like that, or any other challenges, then try and be patient with them. Or if you ever see someone that's sitting by themselves at a lunch table, maybe go talk to them. And who knows, maybe they'll have some awesome stories to tell you.
Thank you so much for that, Jake. I love this story. And it's so funny. My 2-year-old, she just keeps asking me to read it over and over and over. And it's a little beyond her right now, but I love having that influence and that theme for her, even at this age, especially since her brother has Duchenne Muscular Dystrophy. So thank you for sharing all of that. I'd love to chat with the kids a little bit now. I have some questions for y'all. And if you would like to answer, if you could just raise your hand, and I think we'll bring you on one at a time, either with your video and screen or just your screen. And Jake, please, anytime you have something to add in, please jump in here. So my first question for you kiddos is, what is something that's really special about you that's different from other people that you really like? Can anybody think about that? Any ideas? So my son, just like Jake, he can come up with stories. It is amazing, just on the spot. And he will tell, gosh, he's probably told over 200 stories in his life that he's just made up. And it's absolutely wonderful. My daughter, who is 2 years old, she is so proud of herself because she has learned how to spin in a circle. And she is so proud of herself. Does anybody have any ideas like that, that they're super proud of themselves and they really like about themselves?
Me.
Oh, tell me about it.
I might feel like no one wants to sit by me at lunch.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry to hear that.
And what makes you special about it?
I have my peace.
You have peace in your heart? Okay, good.
I love that. You have peace in your heart. How does it feel to have peace in your heart?
Good.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you for sharing that.
Something that makes me different is I'm gluten-free, dairy-free, and I can't eat whatever kids can eat.
But what's the
Sure,
good?
and I'm sure it makes you feel a bit different that you can't do those things.
Mm-hmm.
I always wanted to eat goldfish, but I can't.
And so what makes it good though? What do we get to do when we can't eat what other people eat?
Probably better stuff.
We eat better stuff.
Well, there you go. That's something awesome about you that makes you unique.
Thank you for sharing that, guys. Does anybody else want to share something that's really special about them?
What can you say?
Quiet, quiet, depend from my friends.
You're quiet than your friends at school.
Quiet from my friends at school. Bye.
Bye, thank you.
This is Bragi. Bragi's very excited. Bragi's 4 today. So he says, what do you say? Thank you for the story. Yes.
Happy birthday.
You're welcome.
Oh, wonderful. Does anybody else have something they'd like to share? And then I can have some more questions for you guys to make y'all think. So I will tell y'all something about me. If you haven't noticed, I've got red hair. I was born with red hair. And when I was younger, not many kids liked my red hair. And so sometimes I was kind of teased and made fun of. But after a while, as we got older, some of those kiddos started to get to know who I was and wanted to be my friend more and more. And now,
Relate.
now it doesn't really matter much. Okay, good. Now, I have another question for you guys. Can you tell just by looking at someone if you're gonna like them or be friends? What do y'all think? Just by talking to them, not asking them any questions.
Sometimes I think.
Sometimes. Sometimes there's a kind of a gut instinct in there, but have you ever been surprised? You got to know somebody?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
I love the honesty. Does anybody want to tell me about a specific time? Can you remember this instance? That's okay. It's a good question to think about because you can't necessarily tell just from the way somebody looks. Sometimes they say, it's like, don't judge a book. Oh, where is it? There it is. Don't judge a book by its cover. Of course, we all know by looking at this that we're going to like the book, but you can't just tell by looking at somebody if you're going to like them or not.
And sometimes people can have bad days.
That is true.
This
That
is
is
very
And sometimes that you meet them on that day, but that's not really who they are. So
Mhm.
sometimes you can give them another shot because maybe their day is not going so well.
Thank you for that wisdom. Absolutely. So if you saw a kiddo who was by themselves and nobody was talking to them or hanging out with them, what are some things that you could say to them if you wanted to get to know them better?
Introduce yourself, maybe.
Yeah.
I've done that with little kids when I was little. I introduced myself.
Yeah. That's great.
Say, can I play with you?
I love that one. Oh, that's great.
Anna, you're really good at this. What do you do?
I play with them to make them happy.
Yeah, you're good at just pulling people into whatever you're playing with, huh? Literally pulling them.
I love that. That is wonderful. Well,
I'm
guys,
sure that makes them really happy.
Hey, Jake, I just wanted to let you know that you made my son's day for his birthday when you sent him a video.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad.
Yeah, Justin really appreciated it.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And his teacher, one of his teachers in 5th grade, when he was in 5th grade, before he graduated, they read your book to the class.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's really awesome to hear.
Awesome. It was so great. I was so happy that they did that because it showed the kids that what he's capable of doing. And a lot of them help him in school.
That's right. That's awesome. I think that that's really something that we should all do is help a lot of other kids that might have some differences.
Mm-hmm.
so Jake, do you do this a lot? Do you talk to schools?
I do. I've done a lot of readings like this in the past that I've enjoyed very much, talking to a lot of kids about differences and how I feel very different as well, kind of like what Christina was talking about.
Very good. Do any of the kiddos have any final questions for us today? We're about to wrap up. Well, I'd like to say a special thank you to Jake for being confident in yourself and who you are and for sharing your story with us. And I also want to say thank you for going beyond yourself and helping other kids with Duchenne Muscular Dystrophy, setting up for Jake's sake to help kiddos who don't have all of the equipment that they need, because not everybody is so lucky as to have really good cozy wheelchairs or a house set up the way they need. So thank you so much.
Because like if I'm in a wheelchair like this, it might not be able to get upstairs. So I might need to provide kids with a ramp so they can actually get into their houses.
That's a great thing, Jake. That's really awesome.
Thank you.
Of course. You inspire me and other kids.
Aw. That's awesome. I'm really glad to hear that. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
that makes me feel
everyone.
really awesome. Thank you.
I know, I'm getting choked up. Well, thank you so much, guys, for coming and attending. And we'll be sharing this on social media. So if you have any friends who weren't able to make it today, please pass it along to them. I hope
Will
you'll have a
do.
great weekend.
Have a good weekend, guys. Thanks for being on here. It was awesome reading to you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.